This is Media Masters. My name is Adenike Lanlane. Today on the program with me is renowned broadcaster, Dr. Yemi Farounbi. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you, Adenike. I love the way you pronounce it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. How have you been?
Uh, I'm okay. Just trying to cope with Nigeria, or I don't know. But Nigeria is trying to cope with me. um, things have not been exactly what we think it should be. The more we try to be different, the more we find we are the same. Not exactly moving forward. And for somebody in this business like you, we haven't fulfilled our vision. We haven't fulfilled our dream. Maybe one day.
Okay, thank you so much for starting on that note because I was going to leave that towards the end of the program, but thank you for coming up with that. In the book written by Yomi Davis, Yemi Farounbi, His World, His Works, His Words, Biography of a Media Icon, there was a part in the book where he talked about nostalgic reminiscence. He said that Yemi had lived in Yemetu area of Ibadan in a building known as Ransom House. With nostalgia, he recalled the experience of that time, the peace, the security, and the minimal but tremendously relieving social life. The experience of catching fun at centers at long distances away from home. For instance, Yemi would walk from Yemetu to Apata, where Lafia Hotel was. There also used to be Crispo Garden and Gongon Nightclub. Is it pronounced Gongon? Gongon Nightclub.
No, Gongon.
Gongon Nightclub, thank you.
Talking drum.
Yeah, which were both at Odono and Akpata respectively along Abeokuta Road. And he would trek back at about 1 a.m. without fear of possible attacks of any kind. Such was the experience of many youths at that time. People would go to cinemas like Odeon at Okeado, Rex at Okebola, Coins at Ekutedo, Adamasingba, and Scala at Sabo, which came much later. There was so much space. Doctor, it's okay to enjoy the past and talk about the past with so much fun. But it feels like a lot of people in your generation crave the past because the present isn't so much fun. You are 80 years old. How does that make you feel?
You are right. We spend much time recounting the past. But the Yorubas will say one thing. When you start talking about the dead, it means the living is not living up to expectations. But of course, Nigeria cannot grow if we spend time talking about yesterday. The word time is cyclic. And a famous English writer, Yeats, said that time past and time present are contained in time future, and time future in time past. So you're going to find that the world turns to go in a cycle. And if you spend your time, all of the time, talking about the time past, with nostalgic feelings, you will not remember tomorrow. For me, I love time past, but I want to talk about time future. Because there must be something we are looking forward to. There must be a vision we are working for. There must be a goal we want to reach. Taking advantage of yesterday and today. But you reach a situation now that people think of yesterday. And I take one human element from yesterday, particularly within this geographical context.
Okay.
I'll take Awolowo, for example, as a human element. When in 1951 he came to politics, he talked about three things: freedom from imperialism, freedom from ignorance, and freedom from diseases. Then he built a party that was Yoruba based and was trying alliances with other parts. But he grew because he was remembering the future. By 1979, he was talking of free education, free health, what he called optimum community, or what he called integrated rural development, and full gainful employment. That shows he has moved. He was reflecting the contemporary problems. He didn't build a Yoruba-based party any longer. He tried to build a Nigerian-based party. So when I see people still talking about what he was talking in 1979, we'll give you free education, we'll give you free health. Then I say there's something wrong.
There's something wrong.
The society had changed. Today, yes, disease is still a problem. Health is still an issue. We will not be able to get our national health insurance scheme as effective as we would have wanted it to be. But the health situation is not like it was in 1951. So there are greater contemporary problems today, which has to do with the fact that unlike in 1951, we have 60% of our population as youths. Not illiterate youth like 1951. Educated youth, exposed, contemporarily equal to any youth anywhere. So I believe Awolowo, who had been changing his own political views, if he had been alive today, he won't be talking of free education. He will be talking about the youths. How are we going to use them? He will be talking about what you now call the fifth industrial revolution. Nigeria are not even cutting.
It would have gone farther than when we are today.
We have gone far, but sometimes because we are stuck with yesterday, we are not remembering tomorrow. There will always be tomorrow.
Wow. You just mentioned, Baba Awolowo, you mentioned what he, what he said, oh, I will do this, we will do this and all. And this is 2025. We're still dealing with not fulfilling those things. What does it say about the quality of politicians that we have? Why am I saying this? I look at 1999 to 2003, the quality of politicians that we had, the kind of debates that we had. 2003 to 2007, the quality of debates that we had. You look at the Senate, you look at the quality of the men that we had, they were not perfect. 2007 till after that, it just seems like we seem to be nosediving. What is the quality? I mean, what do we look out for in our politicians? I also understand that people would say they are a reflection of who we are as Nigerians.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. In 1999, the dominant party was the PDP.
Yes.
And in putting the PDP together, nobody was talking of ideology. They were talking of three things. The first was that we've had 28 years of military rule. We were tired of military. Let us do whatever it takes to drive away the military. And that meant building a rainbow coalition to get most of Nigerians behind the party to drive away the military.
Okay.
You couldn't talk of ideology because that would begin to split. So you could have, as it was in the PDP then, a People's National Front led by Alex Ekweme.
Yes.
You could have ANC led by Sunday Awuni and Siroma. You could have a social progressive party led by Solomon La. You could have Bolege leading the People's, they call themselves PCF at that time. Then you could have the People's Democratic Movement led by Issa Kaita. All of them had nothing in common, except that they wanted the military out. The second thing that they wanted then was power shift. Now, okay, we've had enough dominating, either military or civilian. They suffered 6 months of Agui Ironsi and 3 years, 7 months of General Obasanjo. That was all. They said, no, power must shift to the South. Because the South had produced the best president we never had. The South had produced somebody who won at the freest and fairest election but was not sworn in.
So the South felt
so power moved to the South. And to avoid this situation in which power would be domiciled permanently in one area, the third thing they agreed to was that power must rotate between the North and South and between the South and North. In all of that, nobody had talked of ideology. Nobody had talked of quality. So the way 1999 started affected it.
Okay.
And Nigerians loved that idea. They gave PDP 28 governors. But by 2003, the number had come to 24. By 2007, performance was now beginning to be assessed. They have come to 18. Today they have 10. Now, the second problem is political recruitment.
How do you mean?
When they wanted a presidential candidate, having agreed that it would be South, and in particular Southwest, you will find that the contest was between Obasanjo and Falai.
Yes. And Falai.
And Falai, because power must shift. Okay. Obasanjo was in prison. He didn't even know what was going on. He didn't know the party. He didn't know the party members. But everybody thought it was that one man who would make it impossible for the military to come again. Nobody is asking for mental quality, ideological quality, and so on. And when he finished his 8 years, he said, yes, okay, power must rotate. So they picked Yar'Adua. Well, not necessarily the most eminent. Unfortunately, he died. And without any preparation, Jonathan became.
Was thrusted into power.
So the first 3 presidents, none of them was prepared. Buhari was prepared not to be president, but to have power. Because his military period was terminated and he never liked that. So it's not because he had any ideological thing to offer. Even the 3 things he said, I will fight corruption. And what was the second thing he said? I would touch the economy. Not really concrete.
Tangible things.
He just wanted power, and he had power for 8 years, and he enjoyed himself and left Nigeria poorer than it was. We have an incumbent president who also had always loved power.
He said he prepared for the job.
So, it is our recruitment that brought us here. People who ought to be councillors are governors. I'll give you an example. Chief P.C. Onabanjo was a council chairman in Djibouti. So from there, he became governor of Ogun. President Shehu Shagari, after being Minister of Economic Development in Gowon regime, went back to Sokoto and became the supervisory councillor for education in Sokoto local government. Look at that quality of man. Somebody will be minister before, now be supervisory councillor of education. You can imagine the kind of quality he would
take to that.
But who do you find now? Some people who have no experience, who have no knowledge, who have no training. So our recruitment procedure has become increasingly faulty. And that is why if you look at Mike Okpara's cabinet when he was Premier of Eastern Nigeria, and you look at any of the 5 states now, and you look at the quality of the cabinet here, and you look at the quality of contemporary executive council in those 5 states, you'll be ashamed. Because in their time, they recruited the best. They were either good teachers, good lawyers, not people who had no job, not people whose permanent address is politics. They recruited people that saw politics as a service. They had a primary job. They were a lawyer, they were an engineer, what we call the first address. Politics was just because the people wanted them to serve. And if we don't look seriously at our political recruitment, it's going to get worse. And to look at it, we have to go back to the Constitution. The Nigerian Constitution says to be a president, you must be able to prove that you have attended classes up to school certificate. The Constitution didn't say you must have school certificate. Just prove that you have attended. Now, how do you compare that with Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who was Prime Minister of Malaysia, who has a PhD in developmental economics? Or how do you compare that with Lee Kuan Yew, who had a master's in economics from London School of Economics? Or with an Obama, who was Sigma Cum Laude from Harvard? When you are struggling to establish that your president has school certificate,
just have that school certificate. That's all we need.
That's all we need. How is he going to cope with the contemporary economic problems? How is he going to understand the impact of an AI in the technological evolution? How is he going to understand that we have to begin to prepare the minds of our people for an automated system?
So a lot is fundamentally wrong.
So it has to do with the Constitution, it has to do with the way we started, what we were looking for, but we have to keep on changing. A society that does not reflect the contemporary demands is going to stagnate into oblivion. What we are facing today, ordinary food we don't have. I was in Cuba in 1981. President Fidel Castro took a good look at me. He called me double Fidel. My beard was black then. But he said one thing that I've always heard. He said a country that cannot feed itself is not worth being called a country. And why can we not feed ourselves? Is it that we don't have land? We have 1 million square kilometers of land. And we have over 60% of them unused. So it's not that we cannot. It's just that we are not at leadership level being able to identify the contemporary problem. I still want to say I'm a progressive. Wear the glass of Awolowo, or wear the cap of Okpara, or wear the turban of Sardauna. Those days are gone.
It's gone.
The problems they face are nothing compared with what we
What we're
have
dealing with.
today.
Okay, good. So let's get into broadcasting. Well, thank you so much for that. Let's get into broadcasting. Your journey began in the 60s, WNTV, WBS. You once said that at the time you got into broadcasting, you never thought you would end up there. You never wanted to be there. You didn't even know what the field was about. But you ended up in that industry. Not only did you end up in it, you also thrived in that industry. Was your broadcaster made or born?
Both.
Okay.
That I'm still there is tribute to WNTV and its recruitment system. I wanted a stopgap. I wanted a job in Ibadan or Lagos. I really didn't care which job. What I cared was being near the passport office in Kakawa, so I can follow up my passport and disappear. Go to British Columbia, where I already had a fellowship, or Pittsburgh, where I had an assistantship, or London School of
Well, you had a
Economics.
scholarship already.
Hmm?
I say you had a scholarship already at
Already?
London School of Economics.
But I didn't have
The
passport to have a visa. So that was all I was looking for. But WNTV had a system that recruited people on merit and had worked an agreement with WAEC, which had a department they called the Test and Research Development Office,
Okay.
that created aptitude test system to test the aptitude of whoever wants to work in WNTV.
Okay.
So they sent all of us to go and do that test. They said I passed. So they invited us for interview. At the interview, I told them this story, that I just want to go. But because of the aptitude test, they knew more about me than I knew about myself. I didn't know, for example, I could write stories. I didn't know I could write plays. I didn't know I could do any reporting. In any case, I've done a lot of geology and geography. So I don't see what I had to do with them. But the aptitude testing showed them who
You truly
I was
were.
at that time. So eventually they gave me the job. So when I now got there and I saw the environment, naturally those attitudes will come up, and was fulfilling the expectation that the testing system had given them. So I started enjoying it. I said, this is good though. That's why I didn't live till today.
But
My ambition was to be a professor of geomorphology.
wow. I was going to ask you as well that if you had, let's assume that you had traveled to the UK, to London School of Economics. You said, I think it was, you were meant to be a town planner at some point. So
Yes.
if you had traveled, do you honestly, looking back, I mean, hindsight though, looking back, do you think you would have been more successful in that field compared to broadcasting?
It is possible, depending on your definition of success.
Okay.
I probably would have become a professor. But I'm not as happy.
Okay.
Because I now find myself doing something that makes me happy. Within 6 months, in fact, within 3 months, I got the passport. Of course, use the name and the influence of WNTV. But I just put it in my drawer. After 2 years, the general manager, then engineer Oyeleye, called me and said, "Yo, man, you said you wanted to go and do a PhD. What happened? You haven't gotten your passport." I said, "I've gotten it, but I don't want to go." He said, "Why?" I said, "I have seen this place as an opportunity to mold the society
Okay.
into some higher values than what we have. And I think that excites me more than going to study whatever I wanted to go and study. Then he said, but you must still read.
Oh.
So you go to Ife, go and do a master's. So I still did a master's, I still did a PhD, but not because I wanted to lecture, although I ended up lecturing part-time at UI for 8 years, but not teaching geography or town planning now, but talking about mass communication, using communication to create a better society, trying to give people not only what they want, but see how we can give them what they need so that we can build a better society. I feel more fulfilled.
Wow.
I could have been successful, whatever that destination was, but I would not have been as happy and fulfilled.
That's interesting, though. But at that time, how attractive was broadcasting? And when I say attractive, I'm also looking at finances. Was it a well-paying field compared to engineering, compared to law, compared to medicine, for example? Were you proud to, back in the day, were you proud to call yourself, oh yes, I'm a broadcaster? Was it a thing of pride?
Yes, not because we were well paid.
Oh, okay.
But because of the influence we exerted on the society.
But were you well paid? Because I'm going somewhere with that question.
Well, was I?
Were you well paid? Broadcasters in general then?
Broadcasters have never been well paid.
That's where I'm going. Okay.
As a matter of fact, I remember I prepared a huge document for WNTV, WMBS, for Doji, based on the fact that we are not well paid, because nobody actually understands this job. All they see is the beautiful faces they see. They don't know what goes into the 30 minutes that they have seen. It never occurs to them that for a 1 hour program that have taken you 3 days of preparation, they never realize the enormity of demand on your talent, on your time, on your emotion. They never even realize the risk that sometimes happen. When there were coups, you are subjected to risk, or sometimes you go and cover a news assignment, there's a riot there, the first person they will attack is the reporter and his cameraman, so that their faces will not be shown. Nobody really understood us. So we were never well paid. But we were well recognized by the society. And that's why we say, yeah, I'm a broadcaster. Not because there's something in your pocket.
But do you think we belittle ourselves? And why do I use we? We manage radio stations. Broadcasters manage radio stations. Broadcasters are in charge of these radio stations and television stations. So they should know better. They know what you just talked about. They know how much hard work we put in a 15-minute package. They know what it takes to read the news. Yet, we pay ourselves crappy salaries.
Now, I'm going to take you through history.
Please do.
At the time I was there, broadcasting was entirely owned by federal and state government.
Okay.
The civil servants sat in Ministry of Finance or wherever. They approved budgets. They drew a salary scale for us.
Okay.
They treated us as somebody who came to work at 8 and closed at 2. They didn't understand the enormity of working round the clock. It never occurred to them that the broadcaster does not sleep, even when he has closed from work, because he's still thinking. The greatest asset of him is creativity, capacity for innovating, for generating new ideas. Because if he kept on repeating the same ideas, he will not have audience. Nobody understood that. Our bosses understood that, but they were not the decider. We were not independent.
Okay.
We were just part of a government chain. In fact, in 1951, we were just part of a department of telecommunication. In 1956, we became a Nigeria Broadcasting Service. Later, Broadcasting Corporation. Even when WNTV and all of them came, they were owned by government. So it was government that was deciding what you get paid. And these are people who didn't understand what you were doing. Even when your GM was talking, Because when we in Wntv prepared that proposal for Udoji, I know that Christopher Kolade of FRC and then presented a green cover. I can still look at it now as I'm talking. A green cover, big document too. But did Udoji listen to her? They smiled, they took the document, they shook our hand, and at the end, the broadcaster, the newscaster, still got treated as an assistant secretary in the ministry because the power to decide was not ours.
Okay.
Then came 1991 when we started the private industry. Unfortunately, those who are pioneers in the are not broadcasters. Even today,
You're right.
when you look around,
You're right.
we have almost going to 1,000 now, or more than that, private.
Yes.
Go and look at the ownership structure. They are not broadcasters. Something there are politicians who want to have broadcasting for their own political influence.
Or media power.
Or they are just some businessmen who think there's quick money to make and suddenly find that there's no quick money to be made. And therefore it doesn't recognize you, it doesn't pay you well. And it's one of my own continuing disagreement with NBC. Whereas they are doing, I believe there's something wrong with the way we grant licenses.
That was going to be my next question for you, actually, because you've always been very vocal about it. You've always expressed your displeasure with how licenses are issued. And could it be because are you displeased due to the fact that back in your days, because you just explained how back in the day, radio stations were owned by the federal government. So could it be an issue, with all due respect, could it be an issue of sour grapes, or you are genuinely displeased that why we're issuing licenses this way?
This is not sour grape. It's a matter of principle. I have seen how licenses are given in UK. I know how licenses are given in Canada. I have an idea of how in the ARD system of Germany, how licenses are given. Our system is opaque, completely opaque. Just find that there's a new radio station. Nobody does that. In a democratized system, yes, I believe in a democratization of ownership of broadcasting or a liberalization of it, but that must be open. What they do in UK or in Canada, you say, oh, Ibadan, we have new 10 licenses to give.
Okay.
Bid for it. So they apply. They don't process them in secret.
Okay.
Then there'll be an assembly, an open forum. All those who want the licenses will come. All the stakeholders, including the audience, the practitioners, they all be there. They listen to those people presenting why they want to have a license, what they want to achieve with it, what is not existing in the present arithmetic that they want to introduce. Then at the end of it, they summon the people of the stakeholders, and on the basis of that, they grant a license. So when you hear there's a new radio station or a television station, all of you have a fair idea of what it was to achieve. Because
you were somewhat a part of it.
In the process.
In the process that brought it to life.
But now you just hear there's a new station recruiting. You even get there yourself and get recruited. You don't know why the station has been licensed. What purpose are they serving? And that is why you now have too many stations for the economy of that environment. Nobody is considering the economy because these private stations, or like in other countries, there are some private stations that live only on grants.
Yes.
But here, all the stations have to compete to get adverts.
To get adverts.
Now nobody asks, what is the percentage of the GDP of Nigeria that goes to advert? It's less than 2%. It's over 10% in UK. And this less than 2% is what you're going to share. And you're having an economy that is going through depression and all of somersaulting. And when there is economic problem, the first thing that goes is advert. You cut down on your budget for advert. You cut down your budget for trading. So when you now have these so many stations, why are you expecting them to get funded? Take a city, any of the capital cities that is not Lagos. They don't have an industrial base. Even the national advertisers, like the banks, telecommunications, and so on, are Lagos based. Okay? And given the consumption of their products, they spend more money on the urban-based stations.
Yes.
Now you have a station in Adenike or in Zamfara or in Yobe. They don't have any headquarters of bank, they don't have any headquarters of telecom, they have no headquarters of breweries, and so on. So are they going to compete? And they don't have an industrial base, they don't have an economic base. And in advertising, you're looking at economic class of the people.
Yes.
Are they A or B? Those are the people who have the purchasing power. So sometimes you can have a huge audience that has no economic purchasing power. Nobody is going to give you advert. But those who give licenses are not looking at this. So they create problem for proprietors, particularly so the proprietors who thought they would get there and make money.
But that also brings me to Ibadan. Ibadan has over 50 radio stations. Do you think...
Going to almost 60.
About 60 stations in Ibadan. Why do you think they keep rushing to... Why do you think these businessmen keep coming to Ibadan? Is it due to the commercial closeness to Lagos? Or is there some, something juicy in Ibadan that a lot of us don't know about? Or do you also think that the Ibadan Airways right now is overstimulated?
Let me say this. Ibadan is thriving on yesterday. And it attracts people today. Based on the yesterday that had not been analyzed.
How do you mean?
It is true that the very first radio station, 1939, was in Ibadan.
Yes.
The next one was in 1944 in Kano. It is true that the first television was in Ibadan. The first commercial radio was in Ibadan. All these are fortuitous evidences
so Ibadan
of
has
yesterday.
a media history.
He had that media influence by accident. And what was the accident? When the British people were here, they saw Ibadan as the intellectual and art and cultural center of Nigeria. They saw Lagos as the business center. So they brought the university here. Yaba College started here. They brought all the institutes, Agric, Health, Cocoa, to Ibadan because they saw it. Ibadan had an education zone. They had all the publishers were in Ibadan. It was because they saw Ibadan peaceful, intellectual center, artistic center. So they started all of this thing there. That was the preferences of the British. And of course, because you have a peculiar Awolowo government that wanted television, and a lot of people never still understand why he wanted television and not radio at that time. He was doing a free education. He didn't have enough teachers. And he was attracted by the possibility of using television, to quote him now, as a teacher. So you have the few teachers using television to reach a bigger audience. And every school within the coverage area of Wntv, every school had a TV set so that they can use it for education. So it was clear in his mind what he wanted. But that is the history. So a lot of people now don't understand that issue. They don't analyze it. So they now come. I mean, radio stations are folding up in Ibadan. I know at least 4 that have folded up because they can't survive. I know quite a large number that what they pay their staff, those who talk about minimum wage must not hear. People here bear big titles: general manager, chief COO,
Yeah, chief operating officer.
Well, you go and find out what they pay them. Nothing. So they thought they could make money here, but the money is not here. The industries in Ibadan had gone. There were 2 glass for vehicles. There were 2 in Ibadan. They've gone. Isoglass, T-brick glass. The battery Exide had gone. Atlantic Carpet had gone. Club Beer had gone. All the industries had gone. There's no bank that had an headquarter in Ibadan here. There's no telecom that has an headquarter in Ibadan here. So what are they thriving on? Churches for advertisement. Creating more problem for Nigeria.
How do you mean? You're a religious person.
Very religious person.
Yeah.
But completely disappointed with the churches.
Why?
How will you ask a man to do a night vigil? Who is going to work tomorrow? And does a night vigil 7 days. He keeps on sleeping at work.
Are they being forced?
Pardon?
Are they being forced to attend
Well,
the vigil?
you see,
I'm sorry, I'm just being,
they are not being forced, but they are being hypnotized into believing that if they sow seeds, have you heard the latest? You've been to a church, they ask you to bring your phone and stretch it up. You're going to get a alert from where you didn't walk.
But what does that say about our education, about the education sector? Or you don't want to link it to that?
It's not that the people are not educated. Those who use iPhone, they are not illiterate.
Well, but educated is subjective, though.
Yeah, maybe. but they are not exposed.
Okay.
These people have been captured. Their minds have been captured. When God got angry with Adam, he caused us. He said, we shall eat from our sweat. So when you put your phone on and you're expecting an alert, is that your sweat? Paul, the greatest apostle, said, if you don't walk, you don't eat. So I think religion is part of our problem.
Okay.
As practiced.
Okay.
Not contextually, not conceptually, but as in Nigeria, it has become magic.
I also want to quickly talk about trainings, because your generation, you were very big on trainings. Training broadcasters, even people who were not on air, trainings upon trainings back in the day. But these days, private stations, be it TV or radio, and mostly radio, they simply wait for private organizations or NGOs to organize trainings and invite their staff. They're not very big on training. So do you think it's safe to blame your generation? Maybe it was what you handed over to them. That's what they're practicing. Because you can have a broadcaster work with a radio station for 5 years, and he would say he never went on a training in those 5 years.
That won't be the fault of our generation, because in our generation, you can't work for 5 years. It's not possible. First of all, when you are recruited, you can't even go and sit before the camera or handle the microphone until you've done at least an induction training. When you've done an induction training, as at that time we are not many, you have to go to an NBC training school. That was all of us had.
Okay.
To do 3 levels of training: the primary, the middle, and the higher.
Yes.
either in production, in presentation, in engineering, in whatever, you will do the training. And then, of course, we'll send people out. Thompson Foundation, Radio Netherlands Training Center, BBC Training Center, Australian Broadcasting Commission Training Center. And as at that time, Nigeria was seen as a poor country. So we're getting a lot of fellowship to support this. And we're able to give professional training. When I came here and I saw your notes, I was excited because that's how it is done.
Thank you.
But these days I see people tell me they don't have to have production notes. Of course, maybe you are doing a very serious business. They introduce a topic. Can you imagine a 20-year-old girl giving a slot on radio and say, today we're going to talk about joint account, husband and wife. She's not married. And then said, so I'm now going to open after singing praises about herself, she's going to spend 2 months talk about the Oriki, And then after doing that, she talk about this joint account, then open the
You're straight to the phone lines.
Then everybody will be phoning. That's the production. And because they are not trained. And of course, because we grew so rapidly from being 36 radio stations owned by the state, 36 TV owned by the state, and federal government having one omnibus radio with 36 branches, one NTA with 36 branches. Then suddenly we privatized and we just went like that without anybody, including the NBC, thinking that we have to train staff ahead. And if we wanted to even train staff ahead, as at that time, we had the Nigerian Broadcasting Academy, it used to be NBC Training School, and NTA TV College. That was all. It couldn't cope with the demand for labor, new hands, new talents. Even now, there are a few private stations that have training centers.
Yes.
I don't know how moderated they are or how well they are, but we still don't even have enough training opportunities for the large number we are recruiting. In fact, the proprietor that is unable to pay salary is not the one that will train people.
Okay. That's another angle.
Unfortunately, because he also does, he's not a broadcaster, he doesn't even know what that you need in this business to keep on updating. You have to train and retrain and retrain because production capacities are changing. Your equipment are changing, particularly production equipment, they change per day. Within a year, you can have 2 editions of a camera. Now, so you start to let that you know what to say. You must understand the demands of the camera you're using, what it's going to ask for, and so on and so forth. But they don't understand that. In any case, they don't even plan to change their equipment until they become dead. That's what I think.
And that brings me to Society of Nigerian Broadcasters. That's your baby. To the average person, average communication student watching this right now, what is it all about? And what do you seek to achieve with it? Again, I have to mention your age. You're 80 years old. Who do you intend passing this torch to? The younger generation of broadcasters, how well do they know about Society of Nigerian Broadcasters?
Let me say something before I react to you. Broadcasting is guilty of one thing. They know how to build other people.
They know how to beat.
Build.
Okay, build. Okay, build other people.
Other profession. When they have problems, we give them the opportunity. Lawyers, engineers. But we never articulate our own position and present it to the public. And that's why it's been very difficult to get a professional society. In 1962, Chief Segun Olushola and a few people tried to start a National Association of Broadcasters. It failed because the people didn't see the need for it. A professional body is not a trade union body. A professional body must have a body of knowledge, which we have. Because even now, you can have a degree in broadcasting. When there was a restructuring of mass communication, it was broken into 7 fields, and broadcasting became a separate field. So we have a body of knowledge. We must have a code of conduct. Now the code of conduct we have now is by ABC to punish station. No. There must be a code of conduct that can punish a broadcaster. When a lawyer misbehaves, you derobe him. When a doctor misbehaves, you remove his name from the role. There must be some code that says if an individual broadcaster misbehaves, he can no longer practice. That's what we're trying to get at the Society for Nigeria Broadcasters. Of course, it requires the owners of the broadcasters, of the broadcasting organization to cooperate. The Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, in fact, took it upon itself the responsibility to midwife the Society for Nigeria Broadcasters, because we realize we cannot upgrade the quality of people if there is no professional body. You know, if you are an accountant and you are guilty of fraud, they remove your name from the accounting role and you will never be able to practice. No, that has not been possible in broadcasting, but we believe we're going to get there, because I can say this, we scaled through, in the last administration, we scaled through the House of Rep and the Senate, but unfortunately, the bill was ready, I think, on May 28th, and Buhari was on his way out. So we're back in the parliament to get a revalidation of it. We'll get a revalidation of it like we had for the advertising outcome. Then everybody will know that if you are not registered with the professional body, you'll be unable to practice. And if anybody recruits you, you'll be guilty of breaking a Nigerian law. We'll soon get there.
Okay, hopefully. Amen, rather. Amen. I pray that, because I'm very particular about you passing that torch quickly to younger broadcasters, so they know what this is all about. Quickly though, let me quickly talk about rediffusion boxes on a very light note. Because when I was much younger, my mom used to talk, about it, but she used to pronounce it as radio fusion.
Yeah, it was.
That was what I thought they were.
Actually, it was a loudspeaker.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to ask you though, to a 16-year-old viewer right now, or an 18-year-old viewer who has never heard of rediffusion boxes before, please tell us what they were. They were like cable, but for radio. Yeah, right?
It was a cabled, it was a wired system.
Okay.
I think the headquarters was somewhere Okeare. So they distribute the program because people were not rich enough to buy radio sets.
Okay.
Or radiograms. So the government of Awolowo thought we must be able to reach these people. So they gave them, it was just a loudspeaker.
Okay.
I mean, but it's wired directly to the station.
The station, was it a Nigerian station?
It was a Nigerian station.
Okay.
When in earlier days it was ABC, but in later days it was WABS for the Southwest. Okay. So they were wired. So what you do is that if you take Ijebu, you receive the signal of WMS at a point X. Then you wire from there into all the houses. Okay. And I think they started by paying 5 shillings. And if you don't pay, they come and cut it off. You know. That's what it was. But it's not like today now you receive your radio.
Was it monthly? The payment was monthly?
I think it was monthly.
Okay.
It was when it started. I think it was either 1 shilling 6 pence. Well, I can't remember the figure now. I think it started with 1 shilling 6 pence. Then it became 5 shilling. Because 5 shilling was a lot of money.
But I think that also says something about the government, about the politicians of that time, what they wanted for the people.
They were more service oriented.
Yeah.
They to quote them, they said they wanted the optimum good for the maximum number of people. They wanted most of their citizens to be uplifted, educated, to get better welfare. That's where they used to call themselves Adenike at that time.
Okay.
To put it in English, their slogan was life more abundant for everybody, not just for the high class. But things have changed. People had personalized government now. They use it to develop their family and create dynasties for their family. That wasn't what those people were doing. Politics was a service. It wasn't their job. In fact, the House of Assembly in the West and the East at that time was part-time. So you first go to work. The House of Assembly will open at 2 o'clock. So you will have finished your job. So they didn't pay you a salary, they paid the sitting allowance. Now they say parliamentarians, they are full-time. They what?
And they go on recess.
And they won't go. Sometimes they won't be able to get enough members to start. They spend all the time on oversight. Those people didn't bother about oversight because they realized that legislature was to legislate. It wasn't to execute. When you begin to do oversight, to go and see whether rules are being consulted, you are not legislating.
You're not.
But you are creating an opportunity for those who are doing those jobs to say, don't write bad things about you. Take this cola. No, that wasn't what that generation did.
I'm going to ask you this because this is off broadcasting. Former General Manager, CEO, Wntv, Engineer Vincent Maduka. He said something about you, Engineer Vincent Maduka, CFR. He said, let me quote him, Yemi is someone who has an opinion on any matter and quite strong views for that matter. So yesterday I was reading the papers. It was the front page of Daily Trust newspaper. And there was a very small part that said that apprentice impregnates boss's daughter and 9 others in 5 months. An apprentice. So here's my question, because this is way off broadcasting. And since you have an opinion on anything.
Anything, that is true.
Do you think family planning should focus heavily on men than women? And why am I saying this? Here is someone who impregnated 10 people in 5 months.
No, let us look at it. I've come to what you've asked for.
Okay.
But I look at the responsibility in the system, in the society that allows a teenager who is an apprentice, who is still being trained to have an occupation for tomorrow and has enough responsibility built into him to be impregnating 10 children, 10
women,
including
his
having no
bosses.
respect for his boss, including the daughter of his boss. What does that say about the society? What does that say about the way the parents of that boy have brought him up? Has he been given adequate family training? I would say no. The apprentice system where he is training, has there been training beyond the mechanics of the job? No matter how good you are, there's a third dimension anywhere in the world that talks about character. So when you are in training, if you are the finest broadcaster, but you are a drug pusher, who will put you on it? Nobody. So because you are on air, you have become a role model. Yes. There are things you cannot do. that ordinary people of your contemporary relationships and so on would do. But because, if you do this and some unknown cameraman, and there are so many of them today, should put you on air, it won't speak well for you. So you won't do it. Are we training people along that line? No. So what we are talking about is a collapse of the values of Nigeria. That in fact, what a teenager will be thinking about is to make sex with people. And is so irresponsible, so reckless, so untrained that it includes the daughter of his boss.
His boss.
That means he has no fear for his boss, no respect, nothing. Now, having said that, not to come to, of course, family planning has to be mutual. Is why must it be one way? In the past, in some local area, the only recreation they have is their wife. Is that right? They will have a population that we cannot manage. Part of our problem today is that. 1960 we were 55 million. UK was 55 million. France was 55 million. Today, when you ask for the population of UK, it's still about 55 million. Since 1960. Our own have become 237 million. So when you have an exponential growth in the population unrestrained, it's placing stress on provision for health, for education, for roads, for jobs, and so on. Such an unmonitored, uncontrolled growth creates problem. It's the reason now you find that University of Ibadan that used to be the only university, and it was okay then. We have over almost 500 now. Yes. In this last jam, 1.9 million took jam. And I can say it authoritatively. Not more than 600,000 of them will get admission. Because that's what we can provide. Because we have a reckless, irresponsible growth of the population. And if the woman refuses, the man chases him out. Because this is a male-dominated society where the man cannot be wrong. I think if the man who is the author of this reckless growth, including that young man, is subjected to some family planning training and rules, our society might be
definitely better. Okay, so let's get back to broadcasting a little bit. I grew up hearing the late Adenike Williams was the first woman on radio. Then Dr. Kunle Olasope, we hear that he was the first person on radio. I had the opportunity to, I've watched him broadcast before personally when I was at Splash FM in Ibadan. He used to come around for editorial, and it was humbling watching him. Fantastic broadcaster. Yeah. But I've heard the argument that, Adenike Williams was the first person on television. Or Kunle Olasope. Because you belong to that generation. Yeah. So explain who was the first person on television in Nigeria.
Let me tell the story. Simple. Okay. They assembled in the grounds of the Parliament building. Okay. The Premier, the Governor General then, the Lieutenant Governor for Western Nigeria, and all the big people. Awolowo made a speech there about television. The Governor General spoke. It was a very brief event. Awolowo first spoke. I think he spoke for less than 2 minutes. We don't have all these long protocols then. Okay. Then Awolowo spoke for about 5 minutes. Then the Governor General spoke. Then they left the place. The anchor of that program was Olasope.
Okay.
It was being built,
Okay.
but the station had not opened.
The station hadn't opened at that time.
They were broadcasting it, but it had not opened. So they left the grounds and came to television house, Agodi.
Okay.
And the premier with the governor general and all of that cut the tape, opening Wntv formally and removing the cloth covering the plaque.
Okay.
After removing that, then Adenike Agbajimile came on air and said, this is Western Nigeria television service. So legally and formally, she was the first face on television.
Nigerian television.
What we had as emceeing an event, there was no WNTV at that time. It had not been commissioned.
Okay. So it's safe to say Adenike Agbajimile was the first person, man or woman, she was the first person.
She was the first. When WNTV had been officially commissioned, and coincidentally, when WNBS was officially commissioned at the last day of May 1960, she was always also the first voice.
Okay.
So that was it. They always put me in between. I said, yeah, my uncle, great uncle, Kule, fantastic broadcaster and presenter.
Yes.
You anchored, you emceed a program. The station had not opened. I mean, it's like the tone, that we do before. If your station opens at 6 a.m., whatever you do before 6 a.m., the station hasn't opened.
Okay.
But when it is 6 a.m. and you say, this is station X, Y is there. My name is Adenike Landehi. Station has opened.
Station is open.
Anything they've done before that one was their own.
Okay. But do you think it's, do you understand if Kunle Olasope were to be somehow sore about it? Would you be understanding?
Yeah, I understand, because I mean, both of them are my friends. We are together. They will come to me, and I will repeat this story.
Okay.
When the station was now commissioned as WNTV, Adenike came on air. First place. You were on air, yes, but WNTV had not been commissioned.
Okay.
So you were on air on a station that had no name.
No, I get you. Thank you so much for that clarification. I want to quickly talk to you about mortality. I keep mentioning your age every time, and that's because I feel so humbled sitting with you and listening to you talk. Do you think of death?
Do I think of
death?
Yeah, it has to come.
Does it unsettle you, or does it motivate you?
I told somebody today, I said I was going to be interviewed by you, and I was hurrying. I said, please go. He said, when are you going to get tired? I said, I'll get tired when God says, finish. So I told him a story. I said, when I left secondary school, there were 57 of us. Today, there are only 4 of us remaining.
Oh, wow.
So I said, there must be a reason for God keeping the 4 of us, because there's still assignment we must do. So I keep working as if there's no tomorrow. As a matter of fact, that has been my policy. I love what, I think Dr. Azikiwe said this. He said, do what you have to do today, because there may be no tomorrow. So I do it. If death comes, it's welcome. I will have done what I can. But to sit down and not do what I should be doing because I think there will be death, no. That's irresponsible. And because You said I'm religious. I'm that religious to realize that God will call me one day and say, why did you stop work? Did I take your mouth? Did I take your brain? Did I take your leg? I said, no. Then he will say, why did you stop work? I will say, because I thought I would be dead. You say, no. So I'm not bothered about it. I think that one day I'll pass away, and I want to be on my deathbed in that last minute to say to myself, like Paul said, I have run a good race.
If you look back at your life, what are you thankful for?
What?
What are you thankful for?
Now, too many things. You know where I came from? My father couldn't pay my secondary school fee. I needed somebody who never knew me before to pay my university fees before I got a scholarship. So when I talk, I just ask myself, who are you? Where are you coming from? As we used to say in those days, who are you, Regan? So that I even sit here being interviewed by you for a public medium. I'm thankful for it. Where am I coming from? Those who went to primary school with me, they are unsung, unknown. Some of them are perhaps more brilliant than I. But God gave me this opportunity. If I had been lecturing in one university, of course I'd been retired many years ago, nobody would be talking to me. But God manipulated, maneuvered me from being interested in crystallography, mineralogy, paleontology, and such other logies into this one, and had given me enough, perhaps brain, to be able to be relevant in contemporary society, and had given me the courage to be able, as my Oga said, I have an opinion on anything, and I'll say it. And I have no fear about any human being. I only fear God. I don't care about what anybody can do to this body. But I care about what God will tell me. Have you served as a good servant? And I want to be remembered for
that.
For being a good servant.
That's great. Thank you so much. Lastly, you wear white a lot. You wear white every time. It was, I read somewhere that I think it was slightly a rebellious move. Would you like to quickly talk about that?
My birthday?
So I think I read somewhere that it was as a result of, it was like a rebellious move for you. Why do you wear white? And how do you differentiate all the white outfits you have in your house?
First of all, I find that it's easier to wear white because it imposes discipline on you.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes.
Otherwise, if there's a stain, it will come out very glaringly. So it imposes discipline, and I love that. Two is that white will show anywhere, irrespective of the cost. This white, this particular one is 2013. And I had about 20 of them. This same material.
20?
So this same white. So because it is white, I cannot wear one twice.
You're right.
So I was so cheap. And the quality was so ordinary. You know, try and wear ordinary white satin. You will stand out.
Then you wear white shoes as well. Do you wear white shoes all the time too?
No, not all the time.
Not all the time. Okay.
I have black shoes. I love black shoes. I have blue shoes. I really don't wear that.
Okay.
I wear white. I wear black shoes.
But the white outfit blends with your
Yeah, this
hair,
day now
everything.
it blends very beautifully.
It does. It
I thank God
does.
for that.
It does. How long have you been wearing it? How many years ago?
This one,
No, the white that you decided to stick to white.
I don't know now. What is it? 30, 40?
Oh, it's been a long
You
time.
know, when I started in broadcasting, I was wearing suit.
Oh.
Then I took point and said, why must I wear a suit with tie? And I will need an air conditioned room to operate. And so I said, no. Those who wear it over there, they wear it
For a
because
reason.
of their. So I changed to it like this. And I was sewing my safaris using Ankara,
Okay.
Adire, and so on. I think I become a GM then. I remember one day we were going to have a meeting for Basajo as head of state, and they said, no, you can't wear this. It's not protocol. You should wear a suit. I said, if he doesn't want me, he should ask me to go out. And trust the woman. When he saw me, he said, GM Ibadan, come. This is the only Nigerian here. You see?
Oh, wow.
He's wearing Nikeja. That was what he was
Yes.
using. It was Nikeja. Text time. He said, you see, all of you are wearing coat and tie. So people had to start changing. Then, and I did that for so many years. Then I think this must be about 35 years ago. He just said, all this color in our hala, let me use white. It was very cheap.
It's great.
Very, very cheap.
It's great.
And so why I don't have to bother in differentiating is that if I want to make a white dress, I make about 5 or 7. So they will be the same material, the same color. I won't be bothering myself. Is this soft white? Is this blue white?
Really nice. Dr. Yemi Farounbi, thank you so much for being on the program. Thank you. I had a great time listening to you and talking to you.
Yeah, I thank you most sincerely for this opportunity because it's an opportunity. I have one profound belief which I hope I can sell to you. Every prophet must have disciples. Now you're a prophet. I don't mean you are dreamers or visionaries,
Yes.
but once you carve yourself out the way you are doing, you become a prophet. There are things you stand for in broadcasting. There are standards, there are skills, there are goals, there are missions you want to achieve. Don't let it die with you. Create disciples behind you who will carry on that one. No. But for me, an opportunity to talk like this is to create more disciples. So I always appreciate it. Thank you, Adenike.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It has been Media Masters. My name is Adenike Lanley, and I've been speaking with renowned broadcaster, Dr. Yemi Farounbi. I love you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.